Welcome back to the online sessions on embedded systems. In the previous class, we have ended up our session with the basic specifications of the microcontrollers, such as 8051, 8052, and 8031 microcontrollers. So, a microcontroller is known as a small computer system which contains inbuilt ROM, RAM, timers, IO pins, serial port, interrupt sources. That is what called along with the CPU. Along with CPU, the microcontroller is normally going to contain all these peripheral devices. So most importantly, the specifications of 8051 is very important. Why? Because 8051 is normally meant to support specific applications. So therefore, we should remember these specifications compulsorily in the examination point of view, and they simply come under the features of the 8051 microcontroller. Features of these things are going to be features of 8052 microcontroller, and these are going to be the features of the 8031 microcontroller. So in the exam, you may get a question, list out the features of 8051 microcontroller. Then you have to simply list out these six features which it has got. ROM area 4 kilobytes of memory is used. RAM only 128 bytes, 2 timers, 32 IO pins, 1 serial port, and 6 interrupt sources. These are nothing but features of 8051 microcontroller. And similarly, the features of 8052 and 8031 microcontrollers. 8031 is same as 8051, except the ROM memory is going to be 0 in 8031 microcontroller in comparison to the 8051 microcontroller for us. And coming to 8052, the memory capacity in 8051 has been enhanced, which is going to get doubled here. ROM is normally going to get enhanced by multiplied by 2 of 8051, that is 4K, 8K. RAM is going to be 256K, and rest of them is going to be same, except timers are going to be 3 in 8052 microcontroller. So these are the specifications, these are the features of the 8051, 8052, and 8031 microcontrollers. And the internal structure of the microcontroller can be treated as something like this. All these are going to come in a single chip. In a single chip, you're going to have CPU. Along with CPU, you're going to have ROM, you're going to have RAM, and you're going to have timers, you're going to have serial port. You're going to have IO ports. These IO ports are going to come up with 4 different ports like P0, P1, P2, and P3. Each port is normally going to support 8 pins. So this 8 into 4 is going to be 32. So therefore it supports 32 IO pins. So which is normally going to be used for address and data lines. And you're going to have a unit called a bus control unit, which is going to control the operations using the bus control operations. And obviously memory units are going to be ROM and RAM, and it's going to have an interrupt control unit to control the internal to control the software and hardware interrupts. We're going to use the interrupt control unit. And you're going to have the oscillator to support to provide the oscillators normally is going to provide the fixed clock signal frequencies. So oscillator is used to support the clock frequency signals, right, for the entire chip that is there for the microcontroller. So if you think about 8051 microcontroller, the ROM is going to take 4 kilobytes of memory, RAM will be 128 bytes of memory, and it's going to have 2 timers, timer 0 and timer 1 are 2 timers, and 1 single serial port. So which is normally going to support transmit data and receive data pins. It comes up with 2 pins. One is going to be transmit data pin, receive data pin, and it's going to have one buffer. Internally, it's going to have one buffer called serial buffer to support transmission and reception of the signals. And IO ports are going to come up with 4 different ports: P0, P1, P2, and P0, P1, P2, and P3 ports. And oscillator is going to come up with a crystal oscillator to provide fixed clock signal frequencies. So it provides frequencies from 11 megahertz to 12 megahertz. So the frequency which is going to be 11.592 megahertz is going to be used usually for different baud rates for the 8051 microcontroller. So this 11.592 megahertz frequency is a suitable frequency to provide four fixed baud rates, which will be discussing in the days to come. Okay, so interrupt control is normally going to support the external interrupts and also software interrupts. Okay, so these are the internal basic blocks of the 8051 microcontroller. So what is the difference between microcontroller and microprocessor? The difference is very simple. In a microprocessor, you're going to have only CPU. That's all. In a microcontroller system, along with CPU, you're going to have so many other peripherals connected in a single chip is what called a microcontroller. So therefore, this microcontroller can be called as a small computer or mini computer for us. Okay. So this is what a crystal oscillator which we use to support the clock frequencies supplied to the entire digital system. So every digital system is going to operate with a clock signal. Why the clock signal is important? Because every digital circuits are going to operate using the clock signal. Therefore, who will provide clock to the system? It is the crystal oscillator which is going to provide clock to the digital system known as microcontroller system. Maybe 8051, 8052, or whatever may be the digital system for that matter it is. The clock is normally, the oscillator is going to support the clock signal for it to operate. So whenever we speak about speed of a microcontroller, the speed of a microcontroller depends on two important things. One is going to be the clock signal frequency, and other one is going to be the ALU size of ALU. So these two are normally going to be the deciding factors for speed of any digital systems known as microprocessor and microcontroller systems. Now it is going to have memory. It's going to support two memories. One is going to be the code memory. Another one is going to be the data memory in general. So this is known as the Harvard architecture basically, and it's going to have an on-chip memory. So that means every microcontroller can be used to support internal memory and external memory. So external memory, you can think about using of 000 to FF memory locations. So that means this much memory is normally being used. So how many bits are going to be there? 2 power 16 bits are going to be there here. So 0 to something like 0 to 16 bits are used to locate this particular memory location. Similarly for this memory location. So both these memories can be interfaced with the 8051 microcontroller. Along with external memory interfacing, it is going to have on-chip memory supported for a memory range of 00 to FFH. So this is what the basic memory interfacing which we can do with the microcontrollers. So logical separation, how the logically it is going to get separated. Say if you take 8051 microcontroller, it is going to have 4 kilobytes of internal 4 kilobytes of internal ROM and 128 bytes of internal RAM. Apart from this, you can connect this to additional memory locations, maybe RAM or ROM you can have. So one of them is going to be ROM, other one is going to be the ROM area. So 0000 to FF is going to support 64 kilobytes of memory maximum. So it is going to be one of them should be RAM here, other one is going to be ROM here. So mistakenly it is written here, so you can just use it. So or otherwise it is up to us to support. You can have RAM area, you can have ROM, you can have both ROM, you can have both as RAM area. It is based on your application. You're normally going to interface the appropriate RAM, external RAM or ROM to the circuit of the microcontroller based system. Now it is normally handled by a pin called address enable pin, enable address pin, EA pin. So if EA is 0, if EA is 0, it is going to use the external RAM area. If EA is 1, it is going to use the external ROM area. So like that, we normally going to distinguish on utilization of various types of memories here. Okay. Then how do we interface the external code memory? External memory, I want to take data from external memory into the microcontroller for it to operate. Say for example, there is some code resided in the external memory. I want to fetch that code into the 8051 microcontroller so that it can be executed. So how can I interface that external memory with the 8051 microcontroller using these various handshaking signals. This EA bar, ALE, PSCN are known as handshaking signals. So handshaking signals are normally used to interface the external memory to the microcontroller. So therefore, say here we are connecting EA bar pin to 0. If you make EA bar, it is something like the maximum and minimum mode of the 8086 microprocessor. So 8086 microprocessor can be considered in the maximum and minimum mode. Similarly here, if EA bar pin of 8086 is connected to ground, we will be interfacing it to the external memory. If EA bar pin is connected to say EA bar pin is connected to 0, it is connected to the external memory. If EA bar pin is connected to 1, it is going to use the internal memory. It is something like that. We are going to use the minimum and maximum mode. Similar to that, we are going to have the interfacing of 8051 microcontroller with external memory. So if EA bar pin is low, that means what? Active low. Active low means the PSCN. If EA bar pin is low, the PSCN program status enable line will become low, and it is going to enable this particular chip. So this chip is going to get enabled. This chip is going to be enabled by OE bar pin. So once this chip is enabled, now after this chip is getting enabled, the address lines are placed onto this particular address bus. So 8051 is going to have 16 address bus lines and 8 data bus lines. So first of all, the memory location, the memory has to be located where the data, the program has to be fetched into the memory location. So for that port, we may use port 2 to store port 2 to map the higher order address bus lines, and port 0 to map the address as well as data. So port 0 is normally used for multiplexed lower order address and the data bus lines to read data from the EEPROM. So immediately what happens, these higher order bus lines are placed on the address bus, and using this ALE pin, address latch enable pin, what happens, we're going to latch the address lines onto this particular thing. So by making this ALE pin high, whatever is placed on this multiplexed data and address bus is treated as the address lines. After ALE pin goes low, what happens, this latch is normally going to get disabled, and whatever the data resided on the address pins, okay, will remain as transparent here in this. And after ALE goes low, then these particular multiplexed lines are normally used for the data bus lines. So once after the address of the memory location is located in this memory chip, then this data is placed onto the data bus and it will be simply brought into the microcontroller. And this particular program, this particular code segment program which is brought into the microcontroller is simply going to get executed. Okay, so this is how we normally going to interface the external memory, maybe code memory, with respect to the 8051 microcontroller. Okay, so this is what called interfacing of the external memory with the microcontroller. And on-chip data memory, we're going to use called as RAM memory, random access memory. This RAM memory is used for temporary storage of data. So while the code is going to get executed in the 8051 microcontroller, it has to use some temporary data. So to store the temporary data, it is going to use the RAM memory locations, which is known as random access memory. So after the utilization of this data, the data is going to get erased from this particular memory, or after a new data is going to get overwritten on the previous data is simply going to get erased from the memory. So either way, the memory is going to be volatile. So therefore, this RAM memory is known as volatile memory. It is not going to be permanent memory. Now the address, the addresses used here for RAM is very important. So address lines 00 to 7F, 00 to 7F is normally used to locate the RAM area, because RAM is going to be of only 128 bytes. 00 to FF is 256. 256 by 2 is 128. So RAM is going to support only active 128 memory locations. So these memory locations are once again subdivided into three. The 00 to 1F is given for general purpose registers. In 8086 microprocessor, we have used A, B, C, D as general purpose registers. Here also we are going to use A and B as general purpose registers. And 20 to 2F is going to be used for bit addressable. So as I was talking to you, the logic here called as hard code logic. So in microcontroller based applications, we always prefer hard coding. So what is hard coding? Hard coding means what? We normally going to program the microcontroller based on the hardware signaling. So using hardware signaling, we program the microcontroller. So the information of that hard coding, hardware coding, is normally used in the bit addressable memory locations. So therefore, the speed of execution is simply going to increase because of bit addressing method. The next one is going to be 30 to 30 to 7H memory, is normally used for temporary memory used for program execution. So this memory can be accessed by using direct and indirect addressing methods. So once again, unlike microprocessor based systems, here also we are going to have the various addressing methods to locate the data resided in the memory locations. And 80 to FF is normally used with known as upper 128 RAM, is normally going to support with indirect addressing method, and which is also going to contain the special function registers. And we'll discuss these two after we deal with some little bit of programming here. Okay. So the next at register. Now these registers in the RAM memory extending from 00 to 1F is divided into various banks known as bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3. Each and every bank is subdivided into R0, R1, R2, so on up to R7. Each of these R0 to R7 are going to be 8-bit memory locations. 8-bit memory locations. So each of these banks are normally going to accommodate these various registers like general purpose registers. So this is how the memory is going to get divided, and we can program directly by using R0, R1, R2, R3 of appropriate banks here in 8051 microcontroller. And along with this, same as with 8086 microprocessor, you're going to have the stack pointer register. Here in the 8051, stack pointer register is going to be of only 8 bits. You can store only 8 bits of data in the stack pointer register. Initially, when the power is turned on, the stack pointer register value is going to be of 0, 7. So now the memory allocation is going to be 00 to 7F for the 8051 microcontroller, which is normally known as the RAM address locations. In this RAM address locations, you're going to have the bank 0. Bank 1 is from 0 to F. Bank 2 is from 10 to 17F. That means 00 to 07 is bank 0. After 07, you're going to have 08 to 0F is bank 1. Similarly, 10. After F, you're going to have 10 because it is represented using hexadecimal coding system. So after 0F, the next digit is going to be 10. After 07, next 0 is what? 08, because in hexadecimal coding, what are the numbering scheme you're going to have? From 00 we can have 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 8 9 A B C D E F. After F it is going to be 10. So that's the location we have, address locations, and accordingly we normally going to assign the various banks to this particular thing. And after the completion of this bank allocation, then we're going to have bit addressable RAM memory locations. Then you're going to have the scratchpad RAM. Scratchpad means what? Temporary data can be stored in this particular scratchpad RAM, and the data stored in these banks is used for the long amount of duration. It is not going to be erasable very easily, just like the scratchpad. Until you reset the microcontroller, these data stored in this particular memory locations are going to get remained as it is. So this is what the thing which we're going to have in the case of the memory allocations and the stack memory locations. Another register is known as a program status word register. Whenever we're going to program the microcontroller, we're going to use this program status word register, which is going to be a bit addressable memory location. So every bit is going to have its own meaning. Something like PSW.7 is nothing but a carry bit. PSW.6 is nothing but a auxiliary carry bit. So like that, various bits are going to be reserved for various types of the operations. Okay. So like this, we discuss all this when we deal with one of the program. Okay. Then bit addressable memory. This bit addressable memory is going to occupy something like 20 to 2F, 20 to 2F, and every bit is going to have its own meaning here in this particular bit addressable memory locations. So it is going to be used for bit programmable locations. Now we have various types of special function registers meant for data processing applications, control registers for timers, serial ports, interrupt systems, analog to digital converter, digital analog converters. All these are special functions which are supported apart from the data transfer from the microcontroller based systems. Okay, that we deal in the special function registers. Okay, so and apart from this, for on-chip memory, we normally divide this on-chip memory for program as well as for data. So program and data memory can be reserved in this flash memory here. So some part can be known as flash memory, okay, and some part is this is nothing but ROM area, and program memory can be used as program memory, and other area is going to be the scratch memory for us. And this particular data memory for RAM is going to be same as this memory location which we can think of. Now in the case of bit addressable RAM, various bits, see here the memory location, all these are memory locations, 80, 81, 82, so on up to 98 are memory locations. Now each memory location is going to have the memory, each of these bits are identified by these addresses. 98 is 0th bit of 98 location, 99 bit is the first bit of 98 location, 98 bit is the third bit of the 98 location. Like that we're going to have, and this is all these 8 bits are identified with SCON register, P1 register, uh, higher order timer 1, higher order timer 0, lower order timer 1, lower order timer 0 bits. Like this, various bits are allocated for various types of applications. TMOD, TCON, PCON, all these are the special function registers. Okay. So these we'll discuss while we discuss with the simple programs. And lastly, we're going to have a program model of 8051 microcontroller. Program model means what? Program model. Program model means in order to write any program using a microcontroller, you should know the various registers which are there in the microcontroller, such as this as a program model. It is going to have an accumulator. It is going to have register B. So accumulator is register A, other register B. You're going to have the SRAM address registers, and you're going to have program status word register. You're going to have buffer registers. You're going to have data pointer, DPTR register, program counter register, which contains the address of the next instruction to be executed. Okay, this is called program counter, and control logic, you're going to have pipelining operations, you're going to have memory interface, special function bus interfaces. So these are all the various registers which will be used in the 8051 microcontroller. So these registers has to be known so that you can write the program very easily for this particular microcontroller. Okay. So where PSW is known as program status word, A and B are known as the internal registers, SP is a stack pointer register, PC is a program counter, DPTR is a data pointer. So all these registers are normally used to write a program using assembler instructions of a 8051 microcontroller. Thank you very much for the today's session. In next section, we deal with the pin diagram of the 8051 microcontroller. Thank you very much for the today's session.